Hi, class. This is Mrs. Parrish, and it's St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're having a good one. I wanted to point out a few things for our Jonathan Swift portion. I have posted a modest proposal, but before you read it, I do want you to understand what satire is. Now, you might be a little bit familiar with satire if you've ever watched any Saturday Night Live. Sometimes you'll hear a parody of something. Satire is when you use irony to point out flaws in society, and it can be general, and that's usually the satire part, or it can be specific, like a parody of something. So I hope that you will read your modest proposal with that in mind and understand the economic times of London at that time as well. There is also a PowerPoint posted so you can kind of understand a little bit about Jonathan Swift. He was born in Ireland, but he was truly an Englishman, and I'm not sure how much he felt passion for the underlings that had been tromped upon by the English government, but they basically had what happened to them as what happened when William the Conqueror came in from France, and when they went in with Oliver Cromwell, all of the Catholics were basically displaced, and the lands were taken over and rewarded to the soldiers who had come in with them, and then was that land was was given high rents, so people were living on very, very, very little. There's also an opportunity for you to study a little bit about the potato famine. And this happened a little bit later, but there were potato famines at that time too, not the one that we usually refer to. But people were bailing and getting to America if they could, or to the continent if they needed to. So that's part of that too. Before you read your Jonathan Swift modest proposal, and it has probably the longest title in literature. A modest proposal for preventing the children of poor people in Ireland from being a burden to their parents or country, and for making them beneficial to the public. So I want you to look at that and kind of remember that this is probably one of the most famous satires in British or in literature, and it's also one that has probably the longest title. Understanding that, we have stepped back a little bit in time into the 1700s, and this was about 1729 that this was all going on. But I wanted to put this with our time that we're going to talk about. We're going to be doing C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters next, and they're both satires, so I wanted to put those two together so that you could understand. Now, one of the questions on the list is about brainstorming for a satire of your own. So look at what's going on in our time. There's plenty out there. And so you can start to think about that and think about how you would present that in a satire project. We'll be doing those if we return, or if we do not return, we will be doing them on probably a YouTube channel, or you'll be able to submit them to me through my email, whatever. But it could be a cartoon, it could be a PowerPoint, it could be a song. There are plenty of songs. Look at Holderness Family songs. There's a number on there. There's one about daylight savings time. There's one about packing your lunch. Anyway, there's one about adulting. For those of you who are going to graduate, you might want to look at that one and see what that involves. They're all parodies of popular songs now, so you might find that amusing. Also, Tom Chapin has a song, "Mom, Please Don't Make Me Go to School." And it's quite delightful, so you might enjoy that one as well. So there's plenty out there that's been where they look at society and make a judgment, and that judgment might be very, very satirical and ironical. So think about that. A couple of other things that I want you to do before you read is there are some words that you might not be familiar with. Salmanazar was a French forger and imposter, and that's in the modest proposal, and it talks about him being from the island of Formosa. Formosa is our present-day Taiwan, and on Taiwan they speak Mandarin, which is different than mainland China, where they speak Cantonese. but he pretended he was from Taiwan or Formosa. He published a book that said Formosan men could eat their wives who cheated. He'd never been there. He made it all up, but the people believed it. So he's referred to in there, and I think you'll find that interesting. There was another thing when it talks about the pretender on the following page. When they're listing the things, it's under the first one when they talk about the principal breeders of the nation, as well as our most dangerous enemies and those who stay at home on purpose with a design to deliver the kingdom to the pretender. The pretender was a Catholic, and they had worked very hard to make sure there wasn't a Catholic on the throne. The Catholic King James came into power in 1688 to 1766. He had to flee to France, and he was replaced by William of Orange and his wife Mary. That's why we have William and Mary College in the United States. That was established during that time. He tried repeatedly to return to power, so they continued to call him the Pretender. So that is in there, and that's a little bit of history for you. I know you guys have wondered why I do history with English, but it dovetails so very well, and if you understand the history, you can embrace the English, and I think you'll truly enjoy it. All right, so that's what you have to look at. Look at ethos and pathos and logos. I only asked about 2 of those in your questions, but the themes in this I wanted to talk to you a minute about. Exploitation of the downtrodden. That's one of the themes. Prejudice. They were very anti-Catholic, and this was written to point that out. And Irish inaction. They were taking it. They weren't fighting back. They were very apathetic about it. And that was something that he wanted to point out, that they could probably do something or other drastic measures would take place. So anyway, this is also a Ciceronian oration form. So that means that there's a topic worthy of consideration. So like a creds. There's background information, which would be like your bridge if you were writing an introduction. A partitio, which is major arguments that provide claims or prove claims. The reasons, a propicio, proposition of author on topic. The confirmation or evidence, that would be your logos and also your evidence, data, statistics, quotations, and interviews. There's a refutio, counterclaim or rebuttal. Digression, that's emotion and pathos, and a parotio, a so what. So see, I'm only teaching you things that have been around since Cicero's time. Anyway, have a wonderful break, be productive, do good work, and help your parents all you can. This is probably an opportunity for you to do some adulting. So anyway, love you guys. Do good, be productive. Bye.